Lately, I've been having a hard time trying to write this line of dialogue for my video game, and I got paid to do it too, which is ironic because I can't, for the love of me, write anything for the past 2 months. Well, let me rephrase it. I can write easily for this other video game idea that I have that I'm in love with, but not for the Lightkeeper, the project we get paid to make. It's really funny because if I were to tell my 10-year-old self that, hey boy, you swinging lightsaber, imaginary lightsaber in your room, dreaming about these cool UI ideas of the Knights of the Old Republic 3, the holy grail of the sequels, you'll be making video games one day. He'd be fucking flipping out right there. I remember making, making, videos with my first digital camera. Wasn't mine, it was my dad's. I guess digital camera with some video capability built into it. It was 320 by 240 pixel video that it would record, but it was everything for me because I was able to capture myself swinging a stick and then later on discover a video co-pilot in order to put these light glowing sticks on top of it, top of the stick, to make myself feel like a part of the Star Wars universe. And yet here I am. It's 1 a.m. staring at the blinking fucking cursor and I can't write a single line of dialogue. But again, I'm lying to myself because I was able to write it. It was just a dream. This whole thing started as a dream. It started as a game jam. Video game that we built in 3 days. It started with a very simple structure of, hey, what if we had 3 islands? And once you finish those 3 islands, you'll go to the 4th one and you need to complete a puzzle on those 3 islands. And then on the final one, you'll complete it. It's just going to be a very simple experience. We just finished a short hike and we were like, you know what? Instead of making 1 giant island, we'll make 3 small islands. It's going to be a very simple experience. And in the middle of the night, I woke up with this fever dream. What if boats were talking? You, as a character, fell down on this island. No explanation given. You fell down from an airplane and there were shenanigans happening, like talking boats, talking trees. Shaman lady wants a cloud off the island, but it turns out that Clan is just lonely and needs a friend, and so you send it off to where someone only can help with water raining down on their crops and whatnot. That was a silly dream I've had. And it was one of the top voted video games there, or video game gems. And people loved the idea, and we had so many people resonate with the humor in the video game. It was mostly voted top 4, I think, in humor. People wouldn't get it because it's not that type of a video game. It's very much a story novella, I guess, with some light gameplay elements, movement mechanics, voting. But at a certain point, I had to make it real. We decided, you know what if we pitch this game? So we pitched to Bavarian grant system agency, and I had to make a pitch out of it. Out of the 3-day game jam, I had to make a 15-page pitch of this full game that would take 10 months to develop. And I didn't believe it. I didn't believe we would make it. I didn't believe this project would make it past like 100, 200 submissions, and yet it did. We got funded for a high concept. In the high concept, we developed a technical demo. And the technical demo, we decided, you know what, let's pitch it again and write 50-page design document. And you know what you need for a 50-page design document? A real big boy story. And so I sat down and wrote out pages upon pages of lore, what happened before you came to this island, what kind of characters we have, these archaeologist dogs that, look for bones and has this conflict of interest because it's a dog, so it kind of consumes bones as well as discover them, which I thought was really funny. Well, on top of that, there's real villains, but not real villains. I was inspired by Ghibli to make villains that are not really villains, and they have their own motivations, and they're just on two opposite of extremes, but also just really good people trying to protect their all other people that care for them, etc., etc. And all of a sudden, this dream logic video game that was supposed to be Alice in the Wonderland became this massive undertaking with story that was extremely grounded and emotional and tugging on heartstrings and blah 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 yada yada. When in reality it was always this. There's a boat, it has a family all of a sudden, or it thinks it has a family, and trying to persuade it that it does not have a family. But later on, maybe you do find its family. Right? You don't know about it, and you don't know anything about this family, and yet you're trying to persuade it, you know what? Hey, dude, you're just a boat. You're a talking boat. I need you to take me to this other place. And it does. And later on, I don't know, hours later, you figure out, hey, it does actually have a family. It was not lying. You thought you felt it was going crazy. That's what it was supposed to be. Just vignettes of many, many different ideas and funny moments. But it had to have big boy story. And in order to make that, I read so many books. I wrote so many different versions of that story, and then I watched every single video about what makes a story good. The beginning, middle, and end, the rising tension, the crescendo, the hero's journey, blah blah blah, yada yada. And none of that is good for a video game, because when you really think about it, that kind of structure works well for Uncharted, but that's a very extremely linear experience. That structure works well for The Last of Us. Again, very extremely linear experience. The structure sort of works well for a game like Inside. Again, extremely linear experience. But for a game that is ripping off a short hike and saying, hey, what if there's crafting and survival elements and it's actually a cozy horror game? What if that was a story-driven video game? And the answer is no, it can't be, because when you really think about it, what's the story of Animal Crossing? You don't know. What was Tim Nook doing before this whole thing happened? And why is there animals and people at the same time living on the same space? You don't know. It doesn't matter. When you really think about it, okay, Stardew Valley, you start. If you skip all the cutscenes in the beginning, you start with nothing, a blank state of a story. You just know you inherited a farm, and you sort of presume that you're inheriting this character, which is you right now in this very point specific in time, but the timeline deviates, and instead of sitting behind a computer playing a video game, you sort of actually inherited a farm, and you tend to this farm. And that is your story. Or if you watch the intro, you know that you had a grandpa who said, hey, no matter how world is gonna get, no matter how dark it's gonna be, remember there's this letter, and I'm leaving something for you, and when the time gets right, when everything will crash down on you, open this letter. And you feel that as loving as possible. Like, I know there's very little in there when you really think of it. It's just a screen, but it's the sound of the fireplace that I remember. I haven't even played Stardew Valley in years, and I still remember the grandpa, the bed, the night aesthetic of it, the night sky in the background through the window, the warmth of a fireplace, and this warm tone of music that lets me feel cozy. Just sitting by a grandpa who's telling me it's gonna be alright. And then you hear the annoying, super annoying AC sound of JoJo corporate office, the strobing LED lights, the immaculate, never-ending cubicles, and you just feel that AC breeze on you. And if you ever worked in the office space, you know there's always going to be an AC blowing on you, no matter whether it's 110 or 20 degrees outside. You'll be sitting there with 3, 4, 5 layers just trying to stay warm. I used to bring in lots of like 2 different heaters just to heat my legs and arms because it's so fucking cold in the offices in America, especially in the Midwest. You felt that intro. But it was that. It was just a simple, silly little intro of, hey, when world is getting too much for you, here's a getaway. I know I'm putting too much effort reading into this intro, but I felt it because in the moment of time when I played this game, like 4 or 5 years ago, I think, I was in my most depressive period of my life. And those lines of dialogue made me feel something so much so that I even shed a tear just reading that dialogue. It was simple, but it was the start of something that I could get away from. Or rather to get away to. And I don't know. I feel like I want to do something like that too. So there's these 2 wolves in me that want to write something that, is gonna play your heartstrings. Yeah, here I am. It's 1 a.m. and I can't write a single damn line of dialogue for the silly little game. It is about boats and talking birds and talking trees that need memories of birds and then wants a refund because those damn memories were too much for it to handle. It had to be simple, I had to be silly, and I broke that whole dream for myself, and I can't write a single line of dialogue. Or maybe I can, I don't know. And I don't know why I'm saying all this, and maybe you listen to all this from a third person perspective, looking at yourself, working on your project, thinking, damn, maybe I should write down and start writing that damn line of dialogue.